What is up, everyone? Greg here behind the camera for a first-person perspective, if you will, about cable management for a PC. This is something that I do regard as a very important step in the PC building process, but something that I will admit I did not originally regard as a very important step. When I first started building PCs, it was just about, making the front look good, not the back. No one sees the back, right? But it's more than just an aesthetics thing. And even if you don't have a tempered glass front and back panel, and even then you might have it pressed against a wall so no one see it anyway, it's just peace of mind. It's a testament to how experienced you are at PC building. Even if it's your first PC ever, it's still important to cable manage properly. It just makes the entire building experience move by much more fluidly, and in the back of your mind, you know that you built a really awesome PC that looks good on both sides, not just on one side. So if you ever take it apart or show anybody what you've done, show them how to build a PC, you don't want to pull the back panel off and just have a rat's nest kind of fall out of the case. So we're going to talk about my personal take on cable management, what I do when I build a PC nowadays, and what I think will be best for a case like this. This is the S340 Elite from NZXT. It's already predisposed to be an excellent cable management case. I'll show you that here shortly. If you have a really crappy case that's just not meant for cable management at all, I'll discuss that. I don't recommend buying a case like that for a mid-tower or a full-size tower, but that's where we'll start. Before I start the actual video, I wanted to introduce a game plan. These are the steps that I go through when I personally build PCs and regard cable management as a top priority. What you want to do is install everything except for your power supply first. It sounds weird, it's probably unorthodox, but it makes sense in the long run if you think about how we want to manage our cables. We want our smaller cables underneath the larger cables. That way we can keep these smaller ones in check. They're not being, pulled and stretched and stuffed into places they shouldn't be, creating rat's nests, things like that. We want to manage the smaller cables first because they are more difficult to manage, and then overlap the large ones, which are typically found in the power supply. Okay, so this is the back of the S340 Elite. You can see we have our front I/O cables already kind of managed through the included cable clips, and then we have some other cables for the Hue Plus, which is installed. We have two 140 millimeter Hue Plus fans, AER fans they call them, and then one 120 in the back. I did connect those already. These don't connect to the motherboard, so it's not going to hurt to have those already plugged in, but we will be cable managing all of this, so it's just kind of all hanging here now. But hopefully by the end of this video we'll have an excellent case that we can put the back panel on very simply, without any hassle, without any extra force. We all know how difficult it is to put on a back panel in a case that doesn't have excellent cable management. Your front I/O connectors, power switch, power LED, and hard drive LED, whatever else you have there. All of that you want to get out of the way first. These cables are just a pain to try to route around larger PSU cables. That's why I suggest running these in first. Alright, now we have HD audio, the front I/O connectors, the USB 2.0 port for the Hue Plus, as well as the USB 2.0 header for the front panel, all installed on the bottom. That's good stuff. Now we're going to pull those cables back to the back of the case. We have all that slack there, and we know how much cable we have to work with. Okay, the last two things we want to install are the two largest cables that don't require a power supply. That is the SATA cable running from our solid state drive and the USB 3.0 cable. Remember, the largest cables go last because we can use these to kind of press down on the smaller cables and keep those in check. Okay, at this point I suggest using a few tie straps. The thinner the better. I don't believe that the little cable clips included with the case are going to be enough. We're going to want to use some of these little indentions here, and that's what the tie straps are for. So go ahead and grab about 6 or 7 of those, and we're going to start routing these cables as best we can and make it look as pretty as possible. So this is what I have so far. I took out the cable management clips here and here. I didn't like the channels in there, and these cables were too thick for that. So I used tie straps. It's kind of the theme of this whole video. The more tie straps you use, the better. You might not agree with this particular, route, cable route if you will. You may have just chosen to go down this way or something like that. But as long as you have your cables managed properly, you have a lot of space for your power supply once you do insert that, and you can kind of work around all these smaller cables easily. Then you've done a great job with your cable management. One other thing I do want to mention, you want to make sure that your cables aren't bunched up too much. If they are, then you won't be able to slide your back panel on, so do keep that in mind. You don't want to just throw a bunch of these into a large rat's nest and still tie them up. You want to keep these spread out enough to where you can slide your back panel on with ease. Now in this case here, there really isn't much we can do about cable storage. These are just gonna have to be tucked away somewhere. That's where a basement does come in handy. If you don't have a basement, I recommend trying to cram as much of it behind the power supply. That way you can't see it from the front of the case. And then if you have something like a hard drive tray, maybe stowing cables underneath your hard drive. If you don't have a hard drive, then you have even more space to work with. But that's all we can do at this point, because we do have so many extra cables, and just cables that we're using in general. Even with a semi-modular power supply, we're just gonna have a lot of excess. So that's where tucking is going to be your friend. Tucking the cables away in the places that you can't see them from the front of the case. That's pretty much the goal at this point. We've made everything else look pretty, but you know, there's nothing else we can really do about these power cables at this point. Okay, let's go ahead and plug these cables in and then take care of the slack. And here we have it. This is the finished product. If I power the PC on right now, it should boot up no problem, assuming I didn't forget to plug in anything. This is the product of having both a semi-modular / modular power supply and a case that I will admit is excellent when it comes to cable management. So I was kind of already predisposed to do a decent job, given that I was actually trying. But if you follow the steps in this video, you know, route your cables as best you can, use as many tie straps as you need, even some, you know, little sandwich tie straps, whatever you want to call them. But as long as you have those at your disposal and you're not, you know, packed with cables that you don't need from a non-modular power supply, you should be good to go. I mean, this is really going to be up to you. How much effort you put into your cable management will determine how great it looks back here. I would be completely fine with having a tempered glass right panel, given that the cable management looks this way. So let me know in the comments what you think about my job, given what I was, you know, what I had at my disposal. If you have any questions, concerns, be sure to leave those in the comments as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was cool or helpful. Give it a dislike if, whatever, you hate life or you thought I did a terrible job. And subscribe for more content like this. I will be showcasing this build exactly in the next video. This is Salazar Studio. Thanks for learning with us.